Hi everyone, welcome back to Myth Busting series, the Workplace Edition webinar series. In our previous two episodes, we explored many myths around productivity. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about yet another something that is very common. Yes, it is going to be about collaboration. Usually when we think about collaboration, it simply means that everyone working together. But there are certain myths behind this too. Calling this a myth does not mean that we are just going to completely change from the foundation. But we are here to just provide a little bit of deeper information and insights. And these things may not always affect us directly, but they can silently impact our clarity, confidence, and connections. So without any further delay, let's get into today's episode. So as usual, first, can we start with a poll? You are working in a project team, and during a discussion, two team members propose completely different solutions to the same problem. One solution is safe and it has been already tried before and has low risk. The other solution is new and it carries some risk, but if it works, it could create a big impact. The discussion is getting heated, the voices are raising, and the meeting is slowing down. Many of us would have experienced this. So what would you do if you were in this situation? Option A. End the discussion quickly and choose the safer option. Option B. Let the disagreement continue and stay neutral. Option C. Create space for different viewpoints before finalizing a decision. Option D. Suggest a short break to cool down and resume the discussion calmly. So before seeing the answer, let's look at the myth behind this. So the myth here is conflict kills teamwork, and the fact that counters this myth is healthy tension sparks innovation. Working in team always has a mixed process and proceedings. Sometimes everything feels very smooth where everyone agrees, but sometimes disagreements do happen. And at those times, instead of exploring ideas deeply, we may just accept and move on. And this creates something called silent disengagement. Silent disengagement means not participating actively in the conversations, saying okay to everything and just moving on, not sharing any kind of thoughts, and even if you have any such things, giving up every time even when questioned, and avoiding discussions to prevent conflict. When all this happens, the ownership gets reduced, people only do certain assigned tasks, initiatives gets reduced, and the work becomes monotonous, and collaboration quality will also get reduced. Now that we saw the consequences that could be arised if we choose silence, now let's look at the other extreme end, that is about the continuous arguments. When we open up in a conversation and share ideas or inputs, sometimes another person may respond with a strong counter statement. And at that time, there is a chance that it can even turn into a serious argument. When that happens, instead of focusing on the purpose or the goal of the meeting, the discussions may start to drift away. Especially when a conversation turns into an argument, it usually starts based on the actual discussion, but later it may get influenced by your tone, the words we use, and also our facial expressions too. Sometimes the way we speak or the points we make can make others feel humiliated as well. This can disturb the team process and create multiple problems. When conflicts turn into arguments, factors corresponding beyond the actual purpose or the context of the discussion will also come into play. And that is why how we handle such situations is very, very important. Many times when a discussion turns into an argument, it ends suddenly without a proper conclusion. And even if a disagreement exists in a team, a discussion without a conclusion is never completed. And this will definitely reflect on our work in many ways. To avoid all these issues, one of the best solutions is to have a moderator. A moderator is someone from the team who will track the meeting agenda and goals and ensures that discussion does not deviate. When such a person is present, even if conflicts arise, they can help by guiding the discussion towards a solution and bring back the focus of the actual goal of the meeting. And this helps in saving time and energy and also protects the team's rapport. The conversation or the arguments that we make should be meaningful and should help in solving the purpose that we are discussing, and should never involve our personal reasons or dominance at any cost. No matter what the problem or the argument is, the discussion should lead to solutions, and that is what the true resolution means. A moderator should also ensure that the silent members are given space to speak and that their inputs are also valued. Now we have seen what happens if people stay silent and what happens if arguments go out of control. So what next? Healthy tension actually means creating space where different thoughts and ideas can exist together, and beyond just arguments or disagreements as well. When team members are encouraged to speak up, it leads to better outcomes and better processes too. And one important thing to understand is that the best ideas usually do not come from a single person. Strong solutions usually come when multiple perspectives come together. So a decision should be collective, considering everyone's opinions. The final decision should always be valuable, inclusive, and growth-oriented, and not driven by personal choices or dominance. Another important point is choosing the right people for the discussions based on the priority and requirements. If too many people are invited to a discussion, it may create some unnecessary confusion or conflict rather than conclusion. Similarly, having a clear agenda, goal, and a fixed time frame helps in creating a structured and effective discussion process. So the correct answer for this poll is option C, that is, create space for different viewpoints before finalizing a decision. If you selected a different option, just remember that do not avoid conflicts and instead ensure that the conflicts lead to healthy conclusions. And that is when teams grow, innovation happens, and the teams become truly successful. So now, shall we look at the next set of polls? Your team encourages open communication across multiple platforms like chats, email, project tools, and calls. Everyone actively shares their updates to stay collaborative and informed. However, important information often gets lost in large volume of messages. Team members spend significant time searching for the content to be shared before starting the work, and the similar discussions about the same has been happening repeatedly. So what would you do in this situation? Option A. Increase update frequency to avoid missing information. Option B. Expect everyone to stay updated across all channels. Option C. Focus communication on clarity and purpose and not on volume. Option D. Minimize communication and rely on independent work. And before we look at the correct answer, let's first understand the myth behind this scenario. So the myth here is that the more we communicate, the better we collaborate. And the fact is that too much communication creates noise, context switching, and slower progress. And all that is required is quality over quantity. In this scenario, at first, in a glance, nothing may have looked wrong, because the team is communicating openly, sharing their updates regularly, trying to stay collaborative, and making sure everyone is informed. All of this comes from a good intention, but the problem starts when the volume, intensity, and the repetition of the communication creates noise. When communication channels and the frequencies becomes too high, the important information can get missed. Same discussions, when kept repeatedly happening, the decision clarity can get reduced, mental fatigue increases, and at this stage, both the communication and the collaboration will not be improving, and instead the confusion only keeps increasing. Also, even though if there is a lot of discussions might be seen happening, the actual work progress might have been slowed down. Our mind will stay occupied thinking about what to respond or say next rather than focusing on the actual work and the outcomes. While working together as a team, brainstorming is a very important one too. In the beginning, multiple brainstorming sessions are fine. But if the team keeps brainstorming repeatedly without even creating an initial direction or spark, and when the deadlines comes closer, it becomes difficult to make decisions and finalize the solutions. Now, we understood that too much communication creates confusion, but at the same time, having no communication is also not possible in teamwork. If communication is too less, it can create a similar advantage to the over-communication. Like there will be no clear information available, progress cannot be tracked properly, and people may feel very stuck without knowing what to do next, and transparency within the team will also be seen missing. So the goal is not maximum communication or minimum communication. It is about having a balanced and a purposeful communication. Okay, now we have seen the both extremes. So how do we handle this? So the key here is to focus on how effectively and efficiently we can use our communication mediums. For example, using common platforms like loop pages or shared tools for status updates and action items, recording calls for the future references, clearly defining when to use the regular charts versus when to use the group charts, use proper trackers so that the information is shared equally, and also capturing the minutes of the meeting and updating them in the right place is also very important. So, choosing the right medium for the right communication is very important. Also, when working as a team, having common access to the trackers or applications is very important, because we cannot use chat for everything, or we can also not attend multiple meetings even for a very small update. And if we do that, it creates even more confusion and instead of creating clarity. Having meetings only when required and maintaining clear documentation helps in bringing alignment and clarity. If the communication is short, crisp and clear, the team members will clearly know the required actions, the context will be easy to understand and the focus time will improve, and the decisions can be made faster and the work quality will also get improved. Overall, collaboration becomes stronger, and this is how communication can truly support collaboration. The major thing to understand here is that too much communication can lead to noise, confusion and slow progress, and too less communication can lead to misalignment and shortage of information. The key idea is, instead of maximizing the communication, when we optimize it, the collaboration becomes even more effective. So the correct answer for this poll is option C, that is, focus communication on clarity and purpose and not on volume. If you selected any other option, just remember that more communication or no communication will not create better collaboration. Only better communication can create better collaboration. So now, can we look at the next set of polls? There is a collaborative project happening in your workplace where, along with your team, there are also several other teams working on the same project. Although everyone are working together on the same project, the project team members from the other teams also have their own team-specific project deadlines and their deliverables to be focused on. Since the deadline is nearing and you are also handling the entire project, you need to get the support that you require from them and without letting them compromise their own task and deadlines. So in this situation, what will you do? Option A. Push all the teams to prioritize the common project above their own work. Option B. Do all the work by your own self to avoid disturbing the other teams. Option C. Escalate immediately to the leadership and request mandatory allocation. Option D. Conduct a structured alignment meeting to plan the shared capacity. And before we look at the correct answer, let's first understand the myth behind this. So the myth here is that collaboration means compromising, and the fact is that good collaboration is about better planning, prioritization and execution. In this poll scenario, multiple teams are working together collaboratively on the same project. At the same time, they're also working on their own team-specific deliverables as well. Now that the common project's deadline is nearing and you need their support, but they also have their own pending tasks that must be completed. And in this kind of situation, the person coordinating across all the teams may fall into two different extremes. Here, the first extreme could be being forceful or arrogant. This means to demand the work without even consider the other team's situation and just focusing on the completion part alone, and doing all these things there could be no understanding between the team members, and this can lead to damage in the relationships, and it may also create a negative impression about the person showing this kind of a dominance. This side is one extreme end, and on the other end of the spectrum is being a people-pleasing person. When support is needed from a particular team and if they feel a bit hesitant because of having their own task to focus on, and during this time the coordinating team, instead of seeking a proper support or clarification, immediately accepts it, thinking that we should not disturb the rapport or the relationship. So instead they take up all the pending tasks themselves as a commitment. And if the team that has to do the actual work does not have any kind of a high priority task, it is fine. But if they do have anything, it ends up in creating an additional workload. And here the main problem is sacrifice and trying to be nice to everyone. And there can be situations where the other teams may not be able to fully be involved. And at those times, instead of forcing them to do the task, it is better to discuss what level of support that they can provide within the given deadline. And then using the available resources like people and the time, complete it as much as possible and plan accordingly to finish the remaining tasks. So now that we saw that being in either of these two extremes, that is being too forceful or being too people-pleasing, is not a right approach, and also we saw that when teams already have certain commitments and priorities, may not have enough time, and we have to handle it in a very practical way. The balanced approach here is first clearly communicate the urgency of the project and at the same time respect the other team's workload too, and then work together to derive the shared solutions. It should be a win-win situation not just for the person coordinating the project but for everyone involved. And when you look at it, these two extreme personality, that is being arrogant or being a people-pleasing person, do not necessarily have to be a lead or a manager. It can be anyone too. And what really matters is to have a proper understanding, clear communication and negotiation. So the correct answer for this poll is option D, that is conduct a structured alignment meeting to plan shared capacity. If you selected a different option earlier, just remember that collaboration does not mean compromise. It means creating a win-win outcomes by understanding the situation, needs and the priorities. So next time when you see a team's discussions, conflicts or communication getting overloaded, don't try to avoid them. Instead, try to create a balance. Because strong collaboration is not about comfort, it is about clarity, trust and shared outcomes. And with this, we have come to the end of this session, and if you found this episode helpful, hit the like button and share it with anyone who might benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe for more episodes like this, and I will be meeting all of you the next time in the next episode. So this is Hemanandini signing off. Bye bye.